Hello, for NSCAATV.com, I'm Rob Kehoe, Director of College Programs for the National Soccer Coaches Association of America. And it's game day on the campus of the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And I'm with two of the featured central figures of tonight's action that will take place under the lights at Elite Tournaments Field, the coach, Pete Caringi Jr., and the current NSCAA Disney National Division I Men's College Player of the Week, Pete Caringi III. Gentlemen, it's terrific being with you today on game day on your campus and to be able to share a little bit of your unique father-son coach-player story with the fans of NSCAATV.com. As a youth growing up in Baltimore, the son of Pete Caringi Sr., the professional boxer, did you at one point sit on one of those famous marble stoops in downtown Baltimore and do one of those exercises on what I'm going to be when I grow up and write out, I'm going to be an All-American at the University of Baltimore, the school's all-time leading goal scorer, win a national championship, then follow that with a professional career with the Washington Diplomats, and then decide, when I retire from that, I'm going to coach the Maryland Bays to a national championship in a professional league, and then win over 400 college games, have then a number of conference championships, appearances in the NCAA tournament, and earn many Coach of the Year awards regionally, conference, and nationally.
But no, Rob. I was obviously blessed to be brought up into a very nice, great soccer neighborhood here in Baltimore. Soccer was always part of our community, and I look at other places and talk to a lot of other people, and people always say to me, when I grew up, and it might be the same age, we didn't have soccer. Well, that's all we had. We had soccer. We played all the other sports, but soccer in East Baltimore and the Hollandtown area where I grew up soccer was a lot of the old European guys would come back, and they grew up in the neighborhood, so all we did was play soccer. So it was part of our DNA growing up. It was something that I enjoyed, I love to do, but my expectations, sitting on them steps as a kid was, my father was very strict on us, but initially I think he wanted us to be a boxer, wanted me to be a boxer, to follow his footsteps, but my mother, she nixed that right away.
Pete Caringi III, or as some call him 3P, or PC3, what's it like, in one sense, living in the shadow of a local legend, but also making your own mark, as has been distinguished by your performance with the youth leagues with the Baltimore Bays? At Calvert Hall, you were an all-Metro, all-state performer. Most recently, playing in the PDL, you this summer were the U21 Player of the Year and the leading scorer in the PDL. And then, for your college career, 3 years, you've been an all-conference selection player, all-region player, and as I mentioned earlier, currently the NSCAA National Player of the Week. What's that all like as far as the history as well as your own mark?
I'd say for the history, I guess overall it's a great thing. I mean, I've always grown up as a little kid hearing stories from him and all his other friends on what I did, this and that, and it's kind of, I'm a very competitive person, so when I hear this stuff, I want to beat it. So it kind of drove me, even as a young kid, to go out there, practice on my own, do everything the right way, and even to this day, I still got the competitive edge in me where, all right, I might have scored 2-3 goals in one game, and I got to hear he scored 5 goals maybe in one game, so it's not enough to me. It keeps me going, and I mean, it's a great thing overall. So I say for that sense, following him up in his footsteps, I think it's been a good ladder to climb upon rather than looking at it as, I'm never going to catch it, I'm not going to do this and that. I think I could.
Very good. And from the coach and father's perspective of coaching his son in the program?
Coming out, he had a lot of success with the club team, the Baltimore Bays. They were doing very well. And in high school, he continued. He was a late bloomer. He always had the technical ability. He could always score goals. His size was maybe questionable, but he had this thirst to win. And I always, I liked that part of it the best. So to come out of high school, he was doing really well. They won the national championship for the Bays, and I thought that was a big highlight for him. But coming in here, the one thing that we both knew, we both stressed, was that he was coming in here as a player. And that we could put the difference. We're very tight, as a father and son, and always got along great. But when he's here and he's putting anything on with the UMBC shirt on in the uniform, he's another player.
Well, in your 3 years here so far, and the father-son coach-player relationship, 2 out of 3 years to the NCAA tournament. And this year, what are your expectations? And also looking at this as the finish line, the final chapter of this part of your life together at UMBC.
Well, I think, our goals haven't changed. He's seen that as a young player, a young kid hanging in the locker rooms. He's seen that our goal every year was to win a championship. We weren't successful a lot of times, but we've always gave it our best shot, in other words. But once he came here, the year before he came here, he actually came to the final game, seeing that we were just short of winning a championship on the NCAA tournament. He came here, that first year, he helped out a lot. He earned his play on the field, and he earned the player's respect. He didn't play because he was the coach's son. He was playing because he could help the team, and he contributed a lot to that championship team. Last year, we had another phenomenal year. So in 2 of his 3 years, he's accomplished a lot. He's gained national recognition, and the program's gained national recognition. And that's, all my years here, this is probably what we've been striving to get. And it's ironic that your son comes here and he helps. He's not the main reason, but he helps. He hasn't lost an NCAA tournament game. He's gotten beaten twice in penalty shots. So we've had the success. A lot of the players in our program have had success, not only in the NCAA, but also nationally with the youth program. We're hungry. We want to be hungry, and we don't know where the journey's going to end. But one of the things I always tell the players, as long as we give it our best shot, we'll see where the journey ends.
And from your perspective, Pete?
When it comes to this season, I guess it's obviously to take it one game at a time and try to focus on that and win. I mean, you want to win your conference, and obviously nationally you want to go as far as you can, and hopefully you can be blessed and lucky enough to win the national championship. But we take it a game at a time. I mean, obviously our first goal was to win our tournament just from last weekend. There's a tournament on this field, and if it counts, we're going to go out there and try to win it. And now we have this one this weekend. So, obviously our short-term goal is to try to win the night and to get to 3-0 and move on from that. But I guess when it comes to the large perspective, to try to obviously win another conference championship and go farther nationally, and hopefully with the talent we have to get to Final Four national championship. The first 3 years were already incredible. So no matter what happens this year, it was still great, but we feel like this could be the best year out of the 4, I think, as long as we take it a day at a time and not overlook it.
Well, you have a good start, obviously, with the 2-0 start. 4 goals already in your 2 games. And obviously with the history, you always exist under the shadow of it, but also under the bright lights of expectation, not only for the program, but just with the name, Pete Caringi. Thank you for sharing part of your unique father-son coach-player story with all of the fans and viewers on NSCAATV.